Big East Shootaround returns. Welcome back, Big East Hoops fans. Whether you're on your tablet, your iPhone, your iPad, your laptop, we're glad that you're with us here as it's August, which means guys are getting back to campus, and we're ready to rev it up for a big 2018-19. John Fanta here with you. Here's what's coming up on the show today. Villanova players of the past and present got together for one big family reunion. It's Summer Jam, and we got a complete recap and a face-off with Jay Wright on the tee. We've also got Andy Katz coming on with his expert opinion on Big East hoops after we get to the fast break with Jay Alter. And then later in the show, it's Slick Shamari Pons, the Big East leading scorer from last year. We will profile him, and we'll cap it off by opening up the Big East Hoops mailbox. But we begin with the sights and sounds of Villanova Summer Jam. It's become an annual tradition at Radnor Valley Country Club, Villanova Summer Jam, where the past and present of Nova Nation get together for a day of golf and plenty of fun.
I'm gonna watch out young Tiger out here.
Coach, it's an annual tradition, Summer Jam. What's this day like for you?
My favorite day of the year. All the former players come back, former coaches. We get guys introduced to golf, some of the young alumni early in the day, and then great basketball later in the afternoon. They all play against each other. And then a big party night. That's what we like to do at Villanova.
That's right.
We like to hang out, play basketball, play golf, and party together.
An early outlook for Nova Nation on 18-19. Just talked to some of your guys, and they are hyped.
Yeah, I'm as excited as I've been for a year. This is going to be a new generation, really, and a lot of young guys that have great respect for the guys that came before them, great respect for the program. We're gonna have some bumps early, but that's all right, man. Little humility is good for everybody, you know. And we look forward to going through this challenge together. By the end of the year, though, I think we could be a good team.
That humility, it's a humble game out here. Where's your game at?
This game will humble you more than any other. You saw Josh Hart and Dante DiVincenzo and James Bell, Daniel Cheffo stand up here and be humbled, right? Yeah. So this is a good test for all of us.
Let's get to it. Let's see Coach Wright. This is the Coach Wright Close to the Pin Challenge. We did this last year. That's going to be tough to beat. Oh, boy.
He didn't get to warm up.
Coach, I'm with you, and I'm with Tom, who's the best golf coach in the world, right?
Yeah, you and I are either going to put this close and look good, or if we don't, Tom will fix our swing, so we're winning either way, man.
What's your advice to me here?
Punt.
Punt. Let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah, so for me this summer, my driver's been on. The putter's been sporadic. Iron's too chunky, so maybe I'm due. Maybe I'm due today. I'm trying to put in like a low fader that, jets up there, because there's no sense in me just sending a flop to the left side of the green. What fun is that? I'm trying to win here.
The Big East Network can't lose this 2 years in a row.
No.
Let's go, Johnny.
We didn't perform last year. Here we go.
Let's go, Johnny.
Way too chunky.
We'll give
Tom, what are you seeing?
I think that divot went a long ways. Vastly improved there, huh, Coach?
Yes.
He's got it, though. Here he goes. Challenge is put out.
Can I have a consultation with my coach before?
Oh, baby. That's a beaut. Oh, that's right there. Oh, man.
That's from the coach. Freest arm swing ever from the coach.
He's always camera ready. You're always.
Come here. That's 2-0 versus the Big East Network superstars. All the celebrities are down too.
Coach Wright, always winning.
If only we could all have a Tom Patry in our life, and you need 3 of them.
3. You think then I'd be okay?
And you took the entire tee box with you on that shot. How is there any dirt left for anyone else trying to play that par 3?
It's nice to welcome Jay Alter back to the set as he breaks down my golf game. Have you played this summer?
No, I have not. So I'm glad it was you on that tee box and not me, or else I would have been the one embarrassing myself for the second year in a row.
Well, speaking of Jay Wright, and thanks to Jay for doing that and putting up with me on the tee, he not only has golfed this summer with Phil Mickelson of all people, but the summer of Wright. Let's take a look at it as we hit the fast break.
It started just a couple of weeks after winning the national championship, meeting Pope Francis over in the Vatican, and then bring your dog to a Phillies game. That's just really awesome.
Then a Chainsmokers concert. You know, the team was out in LA, they were out there for the ESPYs, and Chainsmokers concert, and then, assistant coaching USA basketball. Jay Wright has had quite the summer.
I still put dog at Phillies game.
That's still the top one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love any puppy palooza at a ballpark. We turn to Chris Paul Elite Camp. And there were 3 Big East rising guards invited. I got to tell you what, the takeaway from this is Quentin Good. And you're about to see him. He is buffed up.
I thought this was a golf show, but we'll talk some basketball. Marcus Howard getting it done with CP3. Phil Booth back for year number 5 with the Wildcats.
Here it is. Look at Big Q.
Yeah, that's some muscle.
He's built.
Quentin Gooden adding some muscle, getting some training from CP3. And I'll tell you what, Quentin Gooden, watch out, folks. With Trayvon Blewett, JP McCura out of the fold, he's got the potential to take a big step up for the Musketeers this year.
I'll tell you what, Evan Daniels was on this show a month ago, and he said the same thing. He said Xavier could be the most intriguing team in the conference. People are thinking a little bit of a mystery. We're unsure of what to expect. Quentin Good, you're right, big part of it.
Well, he was so big in that run to the Elite Eight 2 years ago. He was just a freshman. Now he's going in as a junior. He's got the experience, and he's going to get the opportunity to be asked to score a lot more, and I think he'll deliver for the X-Men.
So summer brings plenty of activities. It also brings summer hits. And if you haven't heard of it, then you've been living under a rock. The Shiggy Challenge with Drake?
I have not heard of it, but I've seen the videos, and these guys have some great moves.
Angel Delgado, take it away.
Bro, yesterday I was in that. I wanted you to, and they keep putting the dance. I was like, what dance? I want the song, bro. I put Kiki, Do You Love Me? I put K-I-K-I. I put K-E-K-E.
Kiki, do you love me? Are you riding? Say you never ever leave from beside me. Cause I want you, and I need you. And I'm down for you, down for you.
Angel Delgado out in LA. Jagan Mosley in our nation's capital.
So I'm trying to get this right here. Wow,
Slick
Jagan's
moves.
got some moves. So what is it? It seems like it's in the hips.
Right, it is.
And then
It's
you put
on
the heart
hips.
up.
Yep. Just going to move on the way
Is
here.
this, am I doing this right? And this is
Yeah,
Drake.
this is it. Yep.
New album, and it's called Kiki.
Yeah.
And you're just going side to side, get your heart up.
Doesn't get much whiter than this.
And anyway, I hear Drake is very popular in the music scene. and the song was written for Kawhi Leonard. They call him Kiki, and Drake, a big Toronto Raptors guy. Very happy to have Kiki in the 6. That is not true at all.
That's not true.
That is a lie.
That's not true. What is true is that today we are actually saying farewell to Mr. Alter. Jay has big news. But before we get to that big news, our producers have put something together for you.
They did not. Do not roll it.
Oh, my. Look at these memories here.
One take. Oh.
I got out of the way for that one. And this one, too. Oh, how fun
Davy
was that?
Crockett.
In front of the Alamo.
In front of the Alamo.
And another jumper. Oh, the elf. Jay the elf.
So this is just the low light reel of me bricking a bunch of... Oh, me waving goodbye.
Yeah, you waving goodbye to all of us.
Wow, I feel like it should say in memoriam. Should I record my own eulogy?
I was just going to say. But no. Jay, tell our fans what you're doing.
We'll be moving on to ESPN. We've got a great package coming, the Geico Next Generation package, Friday nights on ESPN, ESPN2, and ESPNU throughout the fall. You can see the best and brightest high school players, and we'll be doing some college football, college basketball, and college lacrosse for them. So,
partner, congratulations.
It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun when I came to the Big East 2 years ago, we did not have a studio. We did not have Shootaround. And to see the growth under Brad Zach, Rick Gentilu, Josh Patel, and Crandall. It's been really tremendous, and have made me a better person to be a part of it. So thank you to everybody.
Thank you, partner. Lead us into our next segment.
We've got Andy Katz, all 10 teams in the Big East. There's a lot of changes going on in the conference. A lot of people saying this could be a transition year. So no better man to talk to for all the summer upgrades and what you need to know than our good friend, Andy Katz.
We now welcome in the expert, NCAA.com correspondent Andy Katz is joining us. You released your preseason forecast last week. What preseason storyline in the conference fascinates you most?
It's St. John's. What we saw last season with the Red Storm in that little sort of mini run they had where they shocked everyone after losing 11 in a row. They then went and knocked off Duke in the Garden, and then when they went down to Villanova and beat Villanova. They're an exciting team with Shamari Pons back. They got the Garden a little juiced, kind of flamed out obviously after that at the tournament. But look, the Big East, I think college basketball needs St. John's to be back to being relevant. And I think they have a great shot to be relevant this season with a potential Big East Player of the Year, possible All-American. And, we'll talk maybe a little about Mustafa Heron in a second, but I still think the pieces are there where I think they're one of the most intriguing teams, not just in the Big East, but certainly one of the more intriguing teams in the country.
A lot of St. John's fans, they're saying, hey, Shamari Pons, we think he could be the Big East Player of the Year. You wrote on NCAA.com last week that you think the chances are high, though, that Marcus Howard from Marquette will be the Big East Player of the Year. Why?
Well, John, because I think Marquette's going to finish higher. I am high on the Golden Eagles and their new facility. They got a great schedule in the non-conference. I think Marquette right now enters the season behind Villanova. I've got, in some order, you can certainly debate me on Providence and St. John's after Marquette. So if I've got Marquette at number 2, that's why I think Marcus Howard may be Player of the Year, nudging Shamari Pons for that honor.
A more important comeback. You've been talking about both these players. Martine Crumple to Creighton or Emmett Holt to Providence?
It's a tough call because Holt would certainly bolster the front court for Providence, a critical player for maybe how far the Friars will go. But Crumple for Creighton, because of their departures, I think he takes on even more importance for Creighton. He was playing at a high level when he got hurt last season, whereas Holt is not the go-to guy with Providence. Because I think maybe Alpha Diallo become that. Who knows? But I don't think it's Holt. Whereas Crumple could end up being that for Creighton, and they need that, certainly after losing Kyrie Thomas and Marcus Foster.
We actually got a question about this, and in a way, I think it's a perfect follow-up to what you just said. What teams, Blair McKee asked this on Twitter, what teams will alter their playing styles based on personnel this season? You wrote last week that, speaking of Crumple, him and Jacob Epperson, that could change the way Creighton plays.
Yeah, what we don't know is, at least I don't know yet, and we'll have to wait and find out, do they have the exceptional sort of guy that's going to break you down off the dribble at the top? Crumple can get his own shot, and you mentioned Epperson, but I that's sort of the unknown, and I was with Greg McDermott in June when I was out for the College World Series, and they're excited about this group. As you know, John, it's certainly one of the, I think, the hidden gems in the country in terms of not just program, but obviously attendance and interest. But, I think Creighton is the one to watch about how they're going to sort of tweak a little bit how they played. But McDermott has done that throughout the course of his career, whether he's been in Northern Iowa, Iowa State, or at Creighton. Based on personnel, he's had to adjust, and I think he'll have to do that again this season.
Who's an impact transfer that you think could make a splash in the Big East?
Well, that's where I think Mustafa Heron fits in here. Let's assume he's eligible. We don't know that yet. But if he is, then certainly he gives St. John's another option offensively, an experienced player who certainly was a part of a team that surprised everyone last season in the SEC, tying with Tennessee for the co-championship in the SEC. So, I think he certainly ends up being the player to watch if he ends up getting eligible.
All right, we got another fan question, and this one is from Dana Gardens, so you can connect the dots here. Would you like to take back on Xavier finishing 9th in the conference?
All right. I'm not going to take it back, but I certainly understand the criticism. I will tell you that I fully expect probably to be wrong here. And here was my thought process. And this is nothing against Travis Steele. I think he is the right guy for this job. And I think he can get the baton from Chris Mack. But they lost a lot. And, when you're just taking a step back and looking, okay, who's got what coming back, major transition at the coaching ranks, in one sense you could say, I have now, just my little way, sort of put a low ceiling that they can certainly smash through and exceed at least one set of expectations. Also, I would point out that much like the Big 12 last season, I think I think only Iowa State, okay? Mm-hmm. So 9 of the 10 teams into late February had a legitimate shot to go into the NCAA tournament. Didn't happen, of course. They got a high percentage in. Iowa State was probably the one school of the 10 last season wasn't going to get in. In the preseason, I could make an argument that 9 of the 10 could be deep into February competing for an NCAA NIT bid. And so, yes, picking them 9th looks bad now, but, it could be tied for 6th. It's just 9th seeded. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not thinking of them being like a bottom dweller. It's just where was I going to rank them? But I think there's so many teams that are so even in that group.
We wrap it up with rapid fire. Fill in the blank. The team flying under everybody's radar in the Big East is?
I'm going to go with Georgetown. The Hoyas, I think under Patrick Ewing, are ready to take that next step. And, I think they're going to surprise some people. It's weird to say Georgetown surprise in the same sentence, but I do think it's going to be the Hoyas.
The most improved player in the Big East will be?
Miles Powell, close to your heart as a Seton Hall alum. I think Powell will ascend to that go-to role for the Pirates and become one of the more improved players in the country.
Your expectation for the reigning national champion Villanova Wildcats in this upcoming year will be?
Big East title. Until you take it away, they're going to win it.
And finally, best atmosphere in the Big East?
Creighton. It's a hidden gem in the country. The fact that Creighton and Nebraska, Big East, Big Ten, can put almost an average of 34,000 fans on a given home weekend, if they're both at home, is really remarkable in what is supposed to be a football state.
Read him, watch him, listen to him. NCAA.com correspondent. He is everywhere, not only on college basketball, but all over college sports for them. At the Andy Katz on Twitter. Andy, this was fun. Let's do it again.
All right, thanks, John.
Crop of stars in the conference coming up this year, but there's one guy that already is well known, not only in the New York area, but on the college basketball scene. It's Shamorie Ponds. He is the Big East leading scorer from last season, over 21 points per game. He led the Big East in minutes per game with 37 per contest and was right up there with assists. This guy has everything you could want and more in an explosive point guard. He can score the ball from just about anywhere, has great range, and I look at, this is on our Big East Conf Instagram story right now, the win over Duke or a couple of wins over Marquette. I go with the win over Duke. That was his showing. Over 30 points in that contest. You've got Grayson Allen and Duke on the other side. It was nasty. And now our question is, do you think Shamorie Ponds will be voted Big East preseason player of the year? What do you guys think? You think he'll be preseason player of the year? It's a really interesting storyline between Ponds and Marcus Howard. Not only can Shamorie score the ball, but he was also right up there in the top of the steals category in the conference as well. Enough of me talking. Here's a full highlight reel of Slick.
So to answer your question that you posed to everybody and send in your thoughts and feedback, Shamori Pons will be the preseason player of the year in the conference. I do believe that. Here's some names other than Marcus Howard that we need to watch out for. Kamar Baldwin from Butler, Eric Paschal from Villanova, and Jesse Govan from Georgetown. Those 5 guys will be in the mix. One of those 5
I would throw in Alpha Diallo at Providence. I think that Alpha Diallo is the kind of player that's a two-way threat, that defends the ball really, really well. You have to take that into account. The coaches are doing the voting, so watch out for Alpha Diallo as well. The emergence of his offensive game, even more this upcoming year, will be important.
All right, we're going to the Big East mailbag. Let's open it up. This is the perfect time, plenty of time before basketball will be played. First question. So which 2, 3, or even 4 schools are built for sustained success, long-term success in the conference right now?
The first for me is going to be Xavier, and the reason why I say that is Travis Steele has been able to reel in some big-time commitments in the last week. I know that we've talked about Xavier before in this show and how they're a bit of a mystery in this upcoming year. He says they're going to be the best defensive team that Xavier has had, and they're going to need to be. But I really like Xavier for long-term success because I think Travis Steele knows the program. The Musketeers have been to 16 the last 18 NCAA tournaments. Nothing would suggest that's going to change because of what Steele has done on the recruiting trail. Obviously, Villanova is right there. Who else do you like?
Well, I'll tell you what. We just got a question about Providence. People are worried about Kyron Cartwright, the departure of him, Rodney Bullock as well. And what's funny is, who do I like? I like Providence for sustained success. So I'll tie the 2 questions together. Do not worry. Yes, you graduated a lot of talent that on a big stage got you to the Big East tournament final game against Villanova and took them to overtime. But I actually think Ed Cooley and the Friars, this is the recruiting class that since he's been the head coach,
been
talking up. You've got David Duke finally on the floor in a Providence uniform. That's one of the best recruits ever to come to Friartown. I think I'd put them as top 2 or 3 for sustained success in this league.
A.J. Reeves as well. Here's what I look at with Providence. They are a filled-out team. And what I mean by that is you've got Alpha Diallo at the 3, Emmett Holt, who, if there's a Big East comeback player of the year, him and Martine Crumple from Creighton will be battling for it. But Holt at the 4 and Nate Watson at the 5. And then guard play, Ed Cooley's groomed great guard play.
Right.
And they've got pieces that have major potential. We can't forget about Makai Ashton-Langford, who showed flashes, and now we'll get to have more of a say at point guard.
And that's why you ask the question, who's sustained for success? Maybe even more than a Xavier. I mean, it's so tough, it's fine margins, but Providence, the Friars, they've already established themselves for the last 5 years as an NCAA tournament team, and they bring in their best recruiting class now. So they've got the youth, they've got the sustained success, and by the way, folks, they have Ed Cooley. Ed Cooley has done it time and time again with growing talent, taking good guys and graduating them great. And Kyron Cartwright, Rodney Bullock are just the latest examples of that.
But that is a main storyline in the Big East, is can these teams in the first 5 years of this reconfigured league that have put together great runs, can they sustain it now? Can Seton Hall, after the 4 seniors depart, can they be able to sustain something? Kevin Willard thinks so, and he's got the schedule to show for it. They just released their non-con earlier this morning. But Providence, they've been to 5 straight tournaments.
Right.
People think the next 5 could be even better, actual runs.
In the last big storyline coming into this year, Georgetown, St. John's, 2 teams that in the last 5 years have not been at their best. Can they finally make that leap into the top 5 and contend for an NCAA tournament bid? Both coaches would tell you this is the year. They've got the talent on the floor to do it.
And just think, it's only August. We got so much more time to break down all the many preseason storylines. But partner, it's been a pleasure the last year. I've enjoyed every second of it with you. Covering this conference with you has been an absolute thrill, and you've done a tremendous job. Here's our new look
get this
starting
outta
next
here.
week at 1 o'clock.
I
really like this idea. Great breakdown. There's a lot of interesting conversation. There's nonstop passion on the show, and there'll never be a disagreement, which will make the viewers nice and comfortable.
We never disagreed.
For Jay Alter, a Syracuse grad, I'm John Fanta, a Seton Hall grad. Hope you guys have an outstanding weekend. I'll see you next Thursday. Catch this guy on ESPN throughout the fall.
Enjoy the new graphics package. I'm glad we waited for my departure to roll that out.
Well, we had the money rolling. Come on.